NCAA tournament is nearly here, John, and it's time for us to make some early round picks.
March Madness, baby. Let's roll. You're off. We haven't had who's our defending national champion? Do you know?
Virginia?
Yeah, Virginia.
I remember.
You got to give them credit. They battled back. Remember in 18, first round exit.
First one exit. They were the 116 upset. UMBC beat them, and UMBC didn't beat them with a buzzer beater. UMBC beat them by like 20, I think. Remember that? They kicked their ass.
Wasn't it first time in NCAA history?
First time ever.
Correctly?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was a butt kicking.
Probably not going to happen very often, if ever again. If it is going to happen,
beat them by 20.
I would say wouldn't you say a team like Virginia, a defensive-minded, non-offensive team, you just have an awful offensive game where you score like 30 points, but still you have such better players. That's pretty nuts. I mean, that's crazy.
They went 31-3
If it is going to happen to you, though, battle back and win the whole thing the next year, it makes it worth it.
Except for the guy that graduated from that team. Like, that sucks.
Oh, yeah, the one seed, they got bounced.
Yeah, like if you're on that team and then all the guys, you're like, oh, redemption. And that guy's like, well. Okay. So we did a podcast we've done a lot of podcasts already this week, but we did some picks on one of them. I've massaged some adjustments. I feel like I'm overthinking it. So I'm trying to think less, John, which is a classic indication that you're an overthinker. So we'll see. But on that podcast, I said, you asked me directly, do I like Michigan State or UCLA? I said Michigan State. I've talked to some more people. I'm changing my pick. I'm taking UCLA to win outright. UCLA +2. So I like that as well. They play in a ton of close games. They lose close games. They win close games. So I think UCLA plus the points is a solid pick. I texted somebody who watches a ton of Big Ten basketball, and I said, what do you think of Michigan State? And he said, they lost to Maryland twice in like a 3-week span. Don't be fooled by their high-end wins. They're all over the place. UCLA, not the highest ceiling, but I think a pretty high floor here. So in a game that should be close, first for Mick Cronin, time to prepare. Only played one game in the Pac-12 tournament because they got beat, rested. When they hit shots, John, then their ceiling gets high, but I think they can grind out games. So I'm going UCLA first four. Do you have any first four thoughts?
No first four thoughts. Any others?
No, that's my only one. I thought about parlaying it with some picks on. I'm talking fast because we're doing picks, so you got to talk fast.
Yeah, you got to go fast.
I thought about parlaying it, John, with some Friday action, but I decided I didn't want to put all my eggs in that basket, so I backed off. So I'm going to stay put right there Thursday. That's what I got. You're up.
It sounds a little Mel Kiper gambling. Okay, here's what I'm doing. I don't know if these teams play on Friday or Saturday, but they were the trendy pick. And I watched a special with Jay Billis who break it all down. Santa Barbara. I'm a Big West guy, Cal Poly. We once made the tournament, only a play-in game. We didn't advance, but it was sweet. Not really because no one cares. But Santa Barbara did make the tournament, and they are plus 255 to beat Creighton. Creighton's coach suspended by his own university for making a plantation comment. Things have gotten weird. I'm just taking Santa Barbara once I heard Jay Billis say, they are not just some little engine that could. They have an NBA player. I'm in.
That game's Saturday.
That game's Saturday. Other game. Driving around the other day, listen to Mad Dog Radio. Had a guy on there breaking it down. Like, what's the vibe like in Philadelphia? They're like, we don't feel the tournament vibe like we have the last 5 years because Villanova is playing like shit. So I looked who they're playing. Winthrop.
Mm-hmm.
When you say Winthrop, the first thing you think is, that's the type team that usually wins a game or two in the NCAA tournament. Boom. Plus 220. Taking them against Nova. So I'm going Santa Barbara, Winthrop. I like underdogs. Plus 255 and plus 220 just to win outright.
I like it.
That's where I'm going.
I like those picks, John.
Jay Billis is already banked, right? He's won a couple natties. He's just in a good space. He gets his Corona, down year, whatever. No one even holds it against him, right?
You're talking about Jay Wright.
Excuse me, Jay Wright.
Jay
I
Wright.
said Jay Billis. Yeah, Jay Wright. Like no one. It's just one of those off year, whatever, right?
Yep. Good player.
It's like an Alabama 9-3 team. Like, okay, this shit happens. Move on. Next year.
Also on Saturday, I like Oregon minus 5.5 against VCU. I think Oregon could win a few games in this bracket. I would love to see them play. Gonzaga. It's minus 110, but minus 5.5. I'll take Oregon to win and cover. I think they've got a guy named Chris Duarte who should be a first-round pick. They're not very tall. If you haven't seen Oregon before this year, they don't have a bunch of really tall guys, but they got a bunch of 6'7" guys who all look like they've been in the weight room for 5 years. And they can all shoot. Like, they've got some body types that don't look like they should be able to shoot, that they just get down low and they're like, four-year college centers, but they're not. They're really physical. They look like a mature team. Very good coach. Peaked late. Did lose in the Pac-12 tournament, so maybe they got a little edge to them. So I like Oregon minus 5.5.
USC is in Gonzaga's bracket, correct?
USC is in that same bracket with Oregon and Gonzaga.
Wouldn't you say this is probably, of the last half decade, the most consensus Gonzaga's going to win it all, of just a team going into the tournament that you just think this is the best team in the country? That's what they feel like over the last 3 or 4 years.
Since Kentucky was unbeaten with Devin Booker and those guys and ended up losing. But
exactly.
Yeah.
I did see Jay Billis just say, I could see USC just because they have some NBA talent. Elite NBA talent. Could you see them giving Gonzaga a game?
Oh, I could see them giving Gonzaga a game. I have a harder time seeing them get there, though.
They got to beat Iowa or KU.
They'd have to beat Kansas. They'd have to beat then Oregon or Iowa. I think Oregon could actually beat Iowa. So they could give them a game, but they're not as well-rounded as Gonzaga.
Oh, they're just kind of top-heavy. Don't have
they're solid. They got another guy named Taj Edey, Evan Mobley, their star, his brother, Isaiah Mobley, 6'10". So they're really unique. But I don't think they would beat Gonzaga.
I'm not touching that bracket. Let's move to the South bracket. This is Baylor's bracket. Having watched Oklahoma State play Baylor, betting on Oklahoma State, cha-ching, cash that one, I was very impressed with Baylor. Texting with Doug Gottlieb, he's breaking it down Haberman style. They got a couple guards. They got older bigs. And you're watching the team. They got fucking 2 guards that are flying around. Their 2 guards are awesome. Then they got the bigs that look like they're probably not NBA players, but they're going to get NFL workouts. They're just enormous. They're an awesome team. They're very well built for the tournament. But I like taking teams that aren't consensus, like Gonzaga, this team that can't be beat. They are beatable. Oklahoma State just beat them. Ohio State, who has been excellent this year, mybookie.ag, promo code HAM1, you can get 4-1 just to win the bracket. I just think those are pretty good odds for a team that I think most people around the country view as, a top 6 or 7 team in the country. 4-1 is just good odds.
Yeah, look, played in the Big Ten, played in a great league, lost to Illinois twice late, lost to Iowa late, but had a chance really to win the Big Ten tournament. So playing good basketball. I like that.
But when you list Illinois, Illinois and Iowa, right? Illinois is a 1 seed and Iowa is a 3 seed. So it's those are just hard-fought conference elite games. Right?
I was a 2 seed, yeah.
I was a 2 seed. I'm shortchanging them.
Yep.
When Michigan's a 1. How good is that conference?
Really, it's by far the best this year. Yeah. That was in the South bracket. I don't think I have a pick here in the South for today. No. So let's go to the Midwest. This is a game that I thought a lot about. Again, I'm sticking with teams I saw, which is actually kind of dangerous. And so I saw a lot of Oregon State. When they beat UCLA in the Pac-12 tournament, I picked UCLA. When they beat who'd they beat second?
Who are you talking about?
No, I'm blanking.
What team are you talking about?
Oregon State. They beat Oregon. I picked Oregon.
Yeah.
Then they beat Colorado after I picked Colorado. I've been told, I heard Brent Berry, who's an Oregon State grad, said he thinks Tennessee's a bad matchup for them because of Tennessee's physicality. But I think Tennessee wins. But I'm going to take Oregon State plus 8 points. They've got this guy, Jared Lucas, who is 6 foot tall. I think he'll come out and hit 4 threes in this game. He's the Southern California all-time leading scorer in the state of California. He's a sophomore. They put him in the lineup this year. He started hitting threes. They actually do have some bigs that just throw their bodies around. So my thinking is I keep picking against this team, and I don't have to wait for the NCAA tournament for them to look like a Cinderella. They've already been a Cinderella. Again, I'm not even picking them to win. They're getting 8 points. They've had some magic, so I'm not going to overthink this one. I'm just going to ride with some magic with Oregon State and Tennessee.
Brent Berry, the son of Rick Barry, the dunk champion?
Correct. Works for the Spurs now.
Wow, I didn't know that. You said what bracket are you in? Midwest?
Yeah, Midwest.
My Midwest take is simple. I'm not doing any games in these 3 brackets. I'm just picking the team to win the bracket. I bet on Oklahoma State and I watch them beat Baylor. That kid, Cade Cunningham, is elite. They have a lot of other very talented players. Illinois is the 1 seed in this bracket. I just like the value. You have the guy that's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft on a team that's really good, on a team that they beat Baylor. They just had a lot of other big wins inside their conference. I think they had, at one point in time, part of the reason I felt good gambling on that game is they had like 5 or 6 wins in the of top 25 teams throughout the season. They have played well against good teams. So Illinois is the 1 seed. I don't think Illinois is like some all-time great team. 7-1 is really good odds for a team that has elite talent and has a chance to make a run, and I think just has a lot of momentum. Right? They're feeling good. They just won the Big 12.
Yeah,
how do you bet against that?
No, I like that pick. I like that pick. You watch, like, to me, a lot of this is like, did you watch them? What'd you think of them? What'd you see?
Fly around, elite athletes.
Number 1 pick potentially in the draft. I mean, Cade Cunningham, when I watched that Baylor game, I thought, I had not watched a lot of Oklahoma State, John. I thought, this guy is longer than I realized. Did you feel that way?
100%. The other thing I liked about him is, like, he passes. Yeah. He gets fired up when his teammates dunk or get a foul. He's not – remember Ben Simmons at LSU? Now, that team was terrible. It was like an independent contractor. I think it's very cool. Jalen Suggs is clearly this way at Gonzaga.
I would tell you Evan Mobley is this way too.
When you see this guy that's elite that feels like, you know what? If you just didn't know and said this guy's going to be there for 3 years, like he's just one of the guys. Now, he's the best player, but it's like, fuck yeah, that's the college basketball I grew up on in the 90s. And I think that's been lost over the last decade because you just got this one-and-done guys. When I see Cade Cunningham, it feels like all of his chips are in the middle of the table.
You know who's brought that back?
Like that. Mobley, I love that.
LeBron James. I give LeBron James credit for that. I'm telling you, this just like LeBron used to get crushed for passing. LeBron has stayed that player, and I do think there are some players that watch that and go, okay, I can be that guy loved by my teammates.
Well, it's cool. The ones I try to trade. Say what you want about LeBron. His teammates like playing with him.
Except the ones he trades. Except when the trade rumors start. But yeah I do give him some credit for that.
Usually that means you kind of suck and he wants to get rid of you.
I think that's part of East bracket. So again, this is where I've changed my mind on something. When you asked me about it the other day, I took Colorado. -5 to cover against Georgetown. All the logic I just gave you about Oregon State, don't I have to give you the same logic about Georgetown? This team that on paper shouldn't be able to match up with this other team, but this is part of the magic. They just ran through the Big East tournament. Why am I ignoring the evidence that they just put in front of me? Colorado, I love Colorado. I think Colorado at its best is really good. Colorado's not really been great for 40 minutes consistently, though, but they're a really well-balanced team, and they got a good senior point guard, really good player, McKinley Wright. So they've got good shooters with lengths, Jariah Horn. If they're long, they've got some guys that are like 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". If they hit threes early, it can be a blowout. But I've seen them blow 19-point lead this year. So I like Colorado to win. But again, similar logic as Oregon State. I'll just take Georgetown and 5 points.
Cool. I'm going Florida State to win the bracket, plus 575. So basically almost 6-1. Again, like I'm taking Ohio State 4-1, Okie State 7-1, Florida State 5.5-1. Michigan's the number 1 seed. I just picked the team that I thought had the highest ceiling with the best chance for maybe upset the bracket. Florida State, don't know that much about them. Jay Billis, the Habermans, the Gottliebs. You guys act like they have a bunch of talent. The coach has proven like they've made some noise in the tournament the last couple of years.
Just got an extension.
Don't you just kind of like that value? Like we know they're always athletic.
I mentioned them to you the other day, and they immediately lost, and I was like, oh.
But, like, do you think is Juwan Howard, who has done a good job and almost beat up a coach the other day, is he just a lock in his first year as a head coach to go to the Final Four? That'd be pretty nuts. That doesn't happen that often.
No, it wouldn't. It would be nuts.
Especially taking over for just an all-time great coach that they had, and then he just, boom, they're sweet.
I know.
It'd be impressive. Clearly took some pretty good notes being around Pat Riley. You know that the famous coach at St. Joe's, I think?
Martelli?
He has an older – he has an older
Michigan.
coach. He has an older coach on his staff. Oh, it's a second year. Oh, yeah, because Beeline got fired last year. Juwan Howard has like an older coach on his staff that was a very successful head coach for a long time. I think that helps him out.
Tommy Amaker?
No.
Steve Fisher?
No. You got their bios up? I heard it in a podcast. Tim Legler was rattling it off. Tim Legler wants to be a head coach in college basketball without actually coaching. And he just wants to go right there.
Oh, he wants to be. I got you.
He just wants to be a head coach. Like, he just wants to get.
Oh, yeah. It's Phil Martelli. Isn't that what I said?
Yeah, it's Phil Martelli. Yeah. Did you say Phil Martelli?
Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I just started naming former Michigan coaches, which clearly was not the solution.
Yeah, he just wants to be a head coach. And he was using Juwan as an example. Juwan, I don't know. But he mentioned Phil Martelli. That, like, a part of Juwan's sell to Michigan, obviously he's a famous name and a historic player, was bringing Phil Martelli, who's had a lot of success, and I think he's played a big role in helping Juwan just set schedules and stuff, and then Juwan leads. It's working out pretty well. I'd say it's about as smooth as a transition you can get as a major program to go from Beeline to that operation.
It's
Juwan
Howard Isley's on the staff too.
Yeah, they got a cool staff. Michigan's a cool school. I see why Tom Brady went there.
I can see why Harbaugh refuses to leave.
Yeah. Brady, Portnoy, Harbaugh. I mean, it's a good group of
Tirico.
guys. Schefter. I think it's just a cool school. People like going there.
JP Morosi.
He really did go there?
I think so, yeah. He lives
Does they
there.
have a good journalism school?
I don't know. It's just a good school all around.
Yeah. If I had to go to one Big Ten school.
Zingerman's Deli.
I have a lot of buddies that went to Penn State. I've been there. It's cool. It wouldn't be Penn State. And it wouldn't be Ohio State. I'd go Michigan, or I'd kind of go off the beaten path.
Which would be what?
Like an Iowa, because Northwestern not smart enough. It'd have to be one of like an Iowa, kind of tougher, cold. Iowa.
Maryland?
Michigan State, no. Maryland, I don't even count them. Yeah, I don't really know
Nebraska?
what would be off the beaten path. Though. Yeah, it wouldn't be that cool.
Purdue.
Either, probably.
It's a good school.
Yeah, but I wouldn't get in. Not academically inclined enough.
How about
Wisconsin
Lansing, Michigan? How about East Lansing? Go to Michigan State.
I think Wisconsin would be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Michigan
You're right. Wisconsin's the
Wouldn't it
obvious
be cool?
other
Like, where'd
choice.
you go to school? Wisconsin? It'd be like, God, that must have been awesome. Be like, hell yeah.
You're damn right it was.
You ever meet anyone that went to Wisconsin? It's like, yeah, it kind of sucked. No, they're like, fuck yeah, I wish I
Michigan's
could go
the
back
same.
right now.
I feel like anybody
I think
that
a
went
lot
there,
of people,
their whole
like,
wardrobe
part
is
of
just
like,
Michigan
I
sweatshirts.
don't necessarily want to go back to college because, it was cool, but it wasn't like going to games and hanging out. Like, it wasn't like that.
Yeah, I don't think I went to a football game my freshman year at Fresno State. Go Dogs, don't get me wrong. But probably would have been a little different in the dorms if it was Michigan.
Yeah, you would have tried to go.